General quarters, all hands man your battle stations.
Broadcasting live on WNN 1470 AM, 95.3 FM, iHeartRadio, and the World Wide Web. This is Make America Think Again with your Google Blacklisted host, Tom Trento.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger. No, Will Robinson. Danger.
All right, another day, Thursday. What's tomorrow's Friday? I don't know if we're going to have Jumpin' Juma Freaky Friday. We may, but Tom Trento, your host, WNN 1470. All of you listening right now, you're on WNN 1470. Like I say all the time, if you're going by a minefield or some electronic EMP attack, go to the FM side, 95.3. And that's usually a very nice signal from Miami to Palm Beach. That's terrestrial radio, which means radio on the land. But you can go to celestial. No, we don't want you to go to celestial. That's in the heavens. But you can go to digital radio and listen on iHeart Radio. Go to iHeart, download the app, and if you're not listening to rock and roll or jazz or whatever, from 11 to 12, we want you to listen to our show, Make America Think Again. And go to iHeartRadio. Just hit WW. There's two W's. WWNN 1470. Lock that in. Hook it up to your fancy cars. Doesn't work on my van with 250,000 miles. You were in the car the other day, Mark, when it turned my van to what?
250,000 miles.
250,000. 250,000 miles.
And then the right tire fell off.
And then almost I had to bring it in for some repairs because we thought the front right tire was going to fall off.
Well, it's about rusted half off, you know.
This is a good time to ask for donations. Actually, the United West is a nonprofit. Donations are tax deductible. We're running an educational campaign to alert all of America to the threat of Marxism, socialism, democratic socialists of America, to the threat of Islamic jihad. That's our work and our focus over the next 292 days. That's all that's left till the world changes very, very dramatically. And I have some advice for the president I'll tell you about in a second. But 292 days from today is the election, and one of our objectives here at the United West, uniting the West against all the bad guys, is to mobilize 1,000,001 new voters, new evangelical Christians, because their worldview, their beliefs, their morals, their mores, their desire for how a culture should be conformed and function, evangelical Christians, most aligns with the platform, the political and philosophical principles of the Republican Party. If you're a human being, if you're George Washington or Abraham Lincoln, we like to say that, you go look at the platform for the Democrat Party, and if you're George Washington, you're going to go, ay, who are these people? What is this? This ain't the America I started. If you're Abraham Lincoln, 16 presidents later, you look at the Democrat Party, you go, okay, these are enemies of the state, and they are, folks, and they are. Very simple. Back in the 2008s, 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, when McCain was running, I was there in Minneapolis when McCain and Sarah Palin were received the nomination at the Republican National Convention. I was sitting in there and saw that. Wasn't the first choice or the best choice, but, you go with what you got. And then Romney 4 years later, oh, God. And I drifted away philosophically from the Republican Party because the Republican Party in practice drifted away from what I believed as a constitutional Christian. What the heck is a constitutional Christian? Actually, it's a Christian constitutionalist. I defined myself initially as a Christian. And you can put another adjective there, an evangelical, one who believes in the Bible. That's my Weltanschauung, my worldview. That's the way I understand the world. That's how I answer the big questions. Do we exist? I took philosophy and all of that. And you ask those questions, do we exist? Is there any good, any evil? Is there an afterlife? All these big questions. Everybody, I don't care who you are, you got to deal with these questions at some point in your life. I found in my life study that the evangelical Christian worldview best answers these difficult questions. If a jury were looking at systems that answer these questions, I was the jury. That particular persuasion best answers the tough questions. So that's where I stand philosophically, theologically. Now, when I come to politics, I look at political systems, communism, Marxism, an offshoot of communism, a category. You look at Hinduism, all these different things, and I say, well, the political system that makes the most sense in the world in light of my beliefs is the Republican system, constitutional system. So I'm a Christian constitutionalist, and the Republican Party right now best aligns with the principles of the Judeo-Christian worldview. That's where I stand, no apologies with whatever, and I've debated that for 1,000,000 years. You have to debate that, men and women of the United States of America, 127 million voters last time out. And here's the irony of the nonsense going on in Washington. A couple of hundred legislators on the Democrat side, the enemies of the state politically, they're going to decide who the president is for 127 million people that have an opportunity in 292 days. Let that sink in. Good morning, J. Mark and Midwest Dick, and I think we got Ronnie in there too, don't we?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good. You guys good?
Hey, check this out.
Check what out? Oh, look at that! You're not a very exciting shot. I should tell the folks that we're broadcasting live on WWNN 1470, 95.3. But we are, there I am right there. Hey.
There you are, right there.
We're also, we stabilized our studio capabilities. But we do need more donations. I never finished the donation thing.
We need to fix
well,
the
you
van.
toss
We
it to
need
me.
to fix the
You
car.
toss it to me. What was I supposed to do?
Okay, no, no. Go back to that shot, and people will see we need more donations. What a boring shot that is.
What do you want? I put it across here?
I don't know. Dancing.
I could put it inside the studio and do a cross shot and show all the
yeah,
wires
look
all
good.
over the place.
But we are also broadcasting a TV show, internet TV show, that you actually can watch on your smart TVs. We'll be putting our show up on a variety of platforms.
And even on your dumb TVs, you can watch it on that.
Can you? Could you dumb this thing down?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. Get a wire, HDMI wire, plug it right into your computer, into your TV.
Okay,
that's the old-fashioned way.
We will be broadcasting very soon on, I'm getting to the site here, great site, Worldview Television, Worldview Weekend, worldviewweekend.com.
You already
Brandon
announced it?
House.
I'm not even tested it out. You're
Nah,
jumping the
we're
gun.
going there.
You're
We're
jumping the
going
gun on me.
All you
man.
do is you load it in. No big
It's
deal.
a scoop.
We'll be there, and then we're broadcasting on several other platforms. But the point is, since November 4th, when we started all this circus, we said we would be. Yes, I have my crazy glasses on. I haven't had time.
Oh, hold on. I got to fix that.
I haven't had time to go get another pair. Now I'm not wearing another pair. These are fine. They work.
I got like 4 pair in here.
No, I don't want.
And you
those.
want to wear those goofy
No,
glasses.
they mess up the camera. They do look stupid. For the listening audience, I'm wearing stupid-looking readers, but that's life, you know? I have a pretty good self-image. I can wear stupid-looking glasses. Look at my shirt. How you like my shirt? Could somebody read my shirt for the listening audience? I'm not wearing any other glasses. Stay away.
Make America think again.
I have weapons out here. I have my pen and a bottle of Kirkland Italian sparkling mineral water. Read my shirt. What does it say, Midwest Dick?
Make America think again. Trump 2020.
Are we going to start selling these silly
That's
things?
catchy. That's catchy.
It's pretty catchy,
It'll
huh?
catch on.
Why
Make
don't we
America
sell
think
these
again.
things and make some money?
The only problem, I don't mind wearing it, but when I go into a place that serves food, I kind of go like this. I kind of go like this.
You know, I do the same thing when I'm going to like to the drive-through, and I got like Rush or Hannity on, and I pull up to the drive-through, and I go, oh, well, let me crank that down.
Yeah, because people on the other side are known to spit in your food, in your food, so we don't want that.
I think it's more of a myth than anything. But
Yeah. All right, here we are at how many minutes past the hour? 13 minutes.
Ronnie, say hi. Say hi.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here again. It's always good to be with Tom on the show. And everybody have a great day.
Well, it's going to be good to be together in Israel. In Israel, May 18th through 29th. At 13 minutes after, your host, Tom Trento. Trento Show, where we make America think again. One of the ways we're going to help Americans think intelligently about who to vote for, not just at the presidential level on November 3rd, 292 days from today, but we're taking a very special Election Day mission to the Middle East. And we go to Israel, but we stand on the border of Egypt. We stand on the border of Gaza. We stand on the border of Lebanon. We stand on the border of Syria. And we stand on the border of Jordan. And we stand on the border of East and West Jerusalem. We go into what people call the West Bank. We like to say Judea and Samaria. So in this one tiny little country that's the geopolitical center of the universe, in 10 days, you're visiting 6 or 7 countries, and it's simply a master's program. I have a master's degree. It took me, I squeezed a 2 or 3 year program into like 4 years, because I was also running an organization while I was in graduate school.
I took a 4-year degree, stretched it into 8.
Into 8 years, yeah. You know what? I like that better than just blasting through, because when you're in the real world and then you're back in school the next day, the academics actually are relevant to what you're doing. So we're taking you on a program. Ronnie's company is called Heritage Study Program, and Heritage Studies Program. And they're designed to have a lot of fun. We do that to have a good time. We bond usually between 50 and 100 people. A couple of years ago, we took Janine Pirro when we went to the transition of the U.S. Embassy. Thank you, Donald Trump, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And we unite and bond as a family. And the hundreds of us who have gone over the past few years stay in touch. We do work together. We email. We have reunions together. So this isn't like, oh, let's go on a trip somewhere. You go, you come back, you have pictures, and it was nice. This is joining a family of Jews and Christians dedicated to the constitutional principles of the United States and the non-constitutional principles of Israel, because they don't have a constitution, but they have a common law system of organization. And they're the only, Iran, are they the only Western country with a Western government which has a free judiciary, a free press, a free market economic system, or are there other countries around that give these kind of freedoms?
Well, I believe Iraq and Iran and Saudi Arabia are very liberal. They allow people to be underdressed on the streets. So Israel is not unique in that regard. Israel just belong to the community. Of course, I'm joking now.
Yeah. I know
Everybody knows that. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East. Israel is unique in the Middle East. And I must say that when you invited the audience to come with us to Israel, and you said that we will be in the border of Gaza and Egypt and Lebanon and Syria and the West Bank, it sounded a little bit scary, to those who may not have been with us yet in Israel. But I can assure the audience that when we go to Israel, we make sure that we go to places that, yes, once we're there, we can understand better the situation that we are being accustomed to learn from pundits on television and radio, but usually it's false narratives and false news. Heritage Study Programs, my company, took to Israel about 100,000 people over the years. We never had a problem with any of our tourists. I shouldn't call them tourists, with any one of our students who wanted to learn more about the culture, about the geopolitical situation in the Middle East, and we all came back safe. So I'd like to emphasize that though we're going to the borders and we're going to learn so much about the Middle East and the ongoing situation there over the last 70 3 years since Israel became an independent state, we are always safe in Israel. As a matter of fact, I would like to say that we probably are more safe in Israel than many places in the United States, including Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So I invite you to come. The trip again is May 18 to the 29th. And yes, Israel is the only democracy in Israel. I made that answer a little bit longer than I intended.
No, that's good. That's good.
But I wanted to invite you.
Because there is we've spoken to people for many years. Hey, we're going to Israel. Oh, are you kidding me? It's so dangerous there. Oh my God. Yeah. When we go, we interface with all the security apparatus, whether it's the military or intelligence or whomever. If we're going in a particular place, they say, there's a couple of crazy people messing around there. Don't go there today. Go over here. So we go to the left or to the right. Just like if we were traveling in where I used to live in Chicago, I tell people, don't go in that neighborhood over there. You got to go over here a little bit. But you still go to Chicago. It's a beautiful, horribly run city, but a fabulous city, very much like San Francisco. I used to love San Francisco. And just beautiful, the geography of San Francisco, the food, all of that. But it's become an what is it you call it, an S-hole city. So I tell people, don't even go to San Francisco anymore. It's a waste of time. Come to Israel where it's cleaner, nicer, better, and you'll learn. But not only that, on this mission we're going on in May, we're equipping about 50 constitutionalists, Jews, Christians, others. You don't have to be religious to come with us. You got to be an American patriot. You can be any nationality. We have people from all over the place. But you got to believe in the fact that the world is divided now. We got to stand with Israel, with the United States. If you believe in that, you can come with us. And we're going to equip people to come back and work more productively, intelligently, to help get good candidates elected at the federal level, at the state level, and municipal level. Because we've seen too much chaos. The Arab Spring and all that, overthrow. I mean, Iran may get overthrown in the before the end of the year. Who knows? We don't need that. We're a society of law, and all we have to do is have our revolution at the ballot box on November 3rd. In a little bit, we're going to play a view of the Democrats, not just the Democrats, not just crazy left-wing Democrats, but a leader in Bernie Sanders, who is one of the leading candidates right now, a leader in his organization, having a different view of revolution than we do. Our revolution is on the day of election. If we lose, we regroup, we reorganize, we don't go burning the streets, we don't fight people. We reorganize and we come back stronger for the next election. But when Mark has that other deal set up, and we'll play it, but let me tell you about my advice. So come to our trip, May 18 through 29th. We have a special website you can sign up on. And look, if you have a little bit of money and you're not in a position to go.
What am I setting up?
You're setting up O'Keefe's piece. If you have a little bit of money, you're not in a position to go, and you want to do good for the world, pick somebody. Pick a relative, a friend. If you don't have anybody, we have folks that want to come that don't have the money, total money to come, so we put scholarships together. You can donate money to the United West. You can it costs about $4,000 to go, plus air. You can donate that money to us, get a tax deduction. We will offer a scholarship for a person in your name. They can come on the trip and come back as a warrior for justice, for truth, and for the American way. So there's a whole variety of ways that you can impact the election through our special mission in May. The website is Jerusalem Day, JerusalemDay2020.com. Why Jerusalem Day? We're going to be there for Jerusalem Day. And Ron, give us a short, quick overview on what the heck Jerusalem Day is and what it's like in Israel.
Jerusalem Day is festival day, is a major festivity in Jerusalem, and it is commemorating the day Jerusalem, East and West Jerusalem, was united during the 6 Days War. Prior to the 6 Days War, Jerusalem was divided just like the Berlin Wall separated the two sides of Berlin. There was actually a wall and a fence in the middle of Jerusalem dividing the city between Jordan, the country of Jordan, and Israel. And for about 17 years or 18 years, Jerusalem was not the type of Jerusalem that we know today. We couldn't have gone to places we freely go today, like the Temple Mount, the Western Wall, Mount of Olives. Any of these places were out of reach. As a child in Israel, we always thought that never in our lifetime we will be able to be in these places. And there we go in 1967, a war that was waged on Israel, and Israel defeated several armies, the Syrian, the Jordanian, and the Egyptian. We liberated that side of Jerusalem, the east part of Jerusalem, and got Jerusalem reunified. Now Jerusalem is Greater Jerusalem. We can freely go to all these places that I mentioned before, and the unique part on that day that we will be there is a parade or procession of the flags in the main thoroughfares of Jerusalem. We will participate in that, coming from the heart of the west part of Jerusalem to the east part of Jerusalem, to the old biblical part of Jerusalem, ending up on the Temple Mount.
Wow.
In the site of the Western Wall or the Wailing Wall. We call it the Kotel. Kotel simply is the wall, and when you say the wall in Israel, there's no other wall but that Western Wall. So I invite you all to come, because I'm shivering now when I'm talking about it. It's an unbelievable experience. If you come, you will never forget, and I can assure you, you will never regret. So come with us to that
And every
particular
tour,
day.
and every tour is better than the last. It really is.
I like what he just said. You'll never forget and you'll never regret, and that's underscored by, if for no other reason, if you're not interested in the geopolitics, if you're not interested. We do the political stuff, the national security stuff,
But we have fun.
But we have fun too. But for Jews and Christians,
And you might even get find a girlfriend on the trip.
well, hang on, I'm going there. For Jews and Christians, we go to the wherever you look. I mean, you can parachute into Israel and look to the left, and you had a religious site. Look to the right, you had a religious site. So for Jews and Christians to be in what's called the Holy Land, is a very subjective, very emotional, very spiritual experience on top of all the educational stuff. You can't say that about any other place on the face of the earth. Now, that's not enough for you.
Whenever you want to.
I just got a text from a dear friend who reminded me that in addition to all this good stuff we're talking about, you may actually fall in love on one of our trips.
That's right.
A friend of mine came as a cameraman to assist on one of our trips.
Stole my girlfriend.
And he left as a guy in love with a beautiful woman.
Stole my girlfriend.
Who he met. Yeah, Mark was supposed to come as the cameraman.
And I get booted, man.
Couldn't do it. So we turned to my friend, and he changed his schedule around, and he came, and little did he know that his life would change so dramatically
That's right.
in Tiberias. All of it started in Tiberias.
That's right. Hey.
And he was here the other day, and somebody came in and said, oh, and the young lady was with him.
That's right.
And somebody said, how'd you guys meet? And this happened to be a Jewish rabbi asking them. And he said, with a little bit of tongue in cheek, my friend, he said, "Oh, we met in Tiberias, not like Miami or Del Rey or Orlando. We met in Tiberias. What? Tiberias is what is that all about?
Full disclosure.
No,
Full disclosure, there's no guarantee that you will find your love. But on the other hand, I want to repeat what was said by you and Ronnie. You said the word family. People experience over this period of days an experience that builds a family. These people return. I've seen the people come back from these events. They know each other, they work together, they enjoy a common experience, and prepared themselves for the 2020 fight to behave as a Judeo-Christian family back in America, because that's what it's going to take.
All right, well said. And at 28 minutes after Tom Trento, your host, and we had a shot on Midwest Dick there for you folks. You could see Midwest Dick. Go to our video webcast, which will be somewhere. We'll probably at on our site, theunitedwest.org. But if we're going to use that shot, Mark, you're going to have to get the cleaning lady to come in because you got coffee cups and everything.
You
on the
said
floor
give me
over
a
there.
different shot. That was
Yeah,
a boring
that was good.
shot,
That was
so I'm giving
good.
you a different shot.
All right, but that just showed your dirty underwear on the floor over there and everything else.
Dirty underwear. Where was the dirty underwear? There's no dirty underwear.
No, well, he's actually looking.
I'm looking. I could be.
He's checking. It's possible.
Get some dirty socks back
You've
there.
traveled, Mark. It's possible. All right. Well, at the bottom of the hour here, we spoke. Here's my advice to the president. President Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States. If you listen to our show opening, the announcer in our opening bit says the
General quarters.
Well, yeah, but Google blacklisted.
Oh, yeah.
Our organization, the United West, was blacklisted by Google, and this was discovered through an investigation by the Wall Street Journal as to how these tech companies can censor people and organizations that they don't agree with. And in a very long article, 4 investigative reporters said hundreds of organizations through their acquiring of material, inside material, through whistleblowers. And they cited 2 organizations, Gateway Pundit, a very good conservative blog, and the United West.
That's
we were
us.
highlighted, and then we were on Fox News and all of that. But we're blacklisted. And in a very real sense, and that just means if you do a Google search for us and certain types of news, we won't show up. And if we cover a particular story, you won't find that story on Google if you use our name to find it, because they don't want you knowing how we interpret or how we respond to the news and to the affairs of the day. But being blacklisted by Google to a certain degree is a badge of honor if you're a constitutionalist. If you believe in the Constitution and these amendments to it, First Amendment, free speech, it's a badge of honor. In the same way, Mr. President,
Exactly.
You need to wear this impeachment by this fake group of phonies, and we're going to document that in a moment, as a badge of honor. This is nothing to be disgraced about. It is not a disgrace. When somebody tells the press continually, this is eternal, this is Pelosi, this can never be taken back. He was impeached. He was impeached. He was impeached. When people are so aggressive at telling you what they should believe if it were true, then you know your argument is weak. So on the contrary, Mr. President, wear this impeachment as a badge of honor. You should have a T-shirt made. These T-shirts, I went to Chicago and all I got was this shirt. You should have, I was impeached by stupid Democrat House of Representatives. It is a badge of, it really is, for people that are constitutionalists, for people that don't stop thinking when there's a discussion or a debate, for people that don't call each other names. If you're in an argument, you are a hero in many, many respects. You're not a perfect man. We're not idolizing you. This isn't a cult, but you're standing in defense of American constitutionalists. Wear this nonsensical impeachment as a badge of honor. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I got impeached by partisan hacks should be the T-shirt.
I got impeached by idiots. That's all you have to do.
I got impeached by idiots. And here's the thing, and you're exactly right, Tom, because hopefully if our country survives in 40 years and some sanity comes back, they're going to look back in this history and they're going, wow, did they screw this guy over? Were they trying, and it's going to go down in textbooks, and they're going, yeah, well, this is what happened. A bunch of partisan people got abused the FBI. The whole Spygate is all tied in with this whole impeachment thing. Everything that was done in Spygate was to get Donald Trump impeached.
All right, let's take the Democrat Party apart right now. And it needs to be taken apart on a regular basis, needs to be exposed so that those of you who have historically called yourself Democrats, we're going to start with Liar Liar Pants on Fire with Elizabeth and Bernie Sanders.
Oh, I thought we were going to O'Keefe.
We can go to O'Keefe first. We can do that. Because both of them will...
Because he's queued up right now.
Okay, both of them making the point we're making right now. For those of you who are Democrats, seriously, we want you to think through your moral compass. Everybody has a moral compass. Think through... I had a hard time with the Republican Party, and I stopped calling myself a Republican in 8, 9, 10, those years. I said they veered away from their own principles and policies. I said, I'll hang in there, see what happens, and then things turned for the good. But your party is, if you're a Reagan Democrat, if you're, that's good. If you're a JFK Democrat, those days are over. This party is the party of Marx, of Karl Marx. Karl Marx, if he were alive, he would be doing fundraisers for Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and all of them. He'd say, hey, let me do a fundraiser for you. Imagine that. Do you think Karl Marx would do a fundraiser for Donald Trump? If Karl Marx was sitting in this studio and I asked him a question, Mr. Marx, I have to ask him in German.
Yes, well, what would you ask Mr. Marx?
Mr. Marx, we need your help in doing a fundraiser for Donald Trump. Would you be willing to do that? He would say, nein, nicht, never, I'll never do that. If we said, would you do a fundraiser for any of those people that were on television the other night? And that, absolutely, jawohl, yes, absolutely, I'd be glad to. Let me help them out. They get it. They understand what's going on.
Yeah.
That's what would happen. And we're going to show you now with a little piece that James O'Keefe, good friend of ours, did. He put a spy in Bernie Sanders' campaign. Note to all the Democrats, there's spies, and not just by James. Other organizations may have infiltrated your network.
Tom, be quiet.
Oh, yeah. So James put a spy in Bernie Sanders, and he hit a home run, man. He hit a grand slam. Kyle Jurek is the field organizer for the state of Iowa.
Did you say Kyle Jerk?
Yeah, Kyle's a jerk, that's for sure.
I tell you what, this guy's just totally disgusting, Tom.
What? A little parenthetical thought here. I'm getting a note from the lady that also was struck by a thunderbolt.
Really?
Yeah, in one of our trips. Back to one of our trips before we go to Kyle Jurek. By the same token, not only was I struck by a thunderbolt,
right,
but I learned more than I ever could about Judaism, Christianity, archaeology, geopolitical issues, and on and on and on.
Yeah.
No, for real. For real. No, this stuff, look, it's amazing. It really is. What else is also amazing is what you're going to hear now. Now, you may not believe what you're going to hear. And I heard some people saying, well, we don't know if this guy's for real. We don't know if this field organizer is a phony. We don't know. Instead of saying, let's take this for face value, then investigate it, there's a default position by people on the left. He can't be real. He can't be real because what he's saying is so over the top. But this is our point to all of you Democrats. Yep. This party has gone over the top. Check this out.
Speech has repercussions.
So if Trump gets reelected, what?
Cities burn.
And the only thing that fascists understand is violence. So the only way that you can confront them is with violence.
It's a directive from Bernie that we can't attack Warren.
I think it's also fair to point out that when we were in Moscow, for example, people here also were extremely impressed by their public transportation system.
On Tuesday, we met Bernie Sanders' campaign staffer Kyle Jurek, an extreme radical who has been paid more than $10,000 for his campaign work. We wonder, how many other radicals like Jurek are embedded in the Sanders campaign apparatus? Jurek's ideas are beyond scary, especially his take on the Soviet Union's gulags.
There's a reason Joseph Stalin had gulags, right? And actually, gulags were a lot better than what the CIA has told us that they were.
Wait a second. This is crazy talk. I mean, the most comprehensive literary work about the Soviet Union was done by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for describing the horror, the violence, the tragedy, the carnage, the genocide that occurred in the Soviet gulags. And while we released a video yesterday, this video has even more discussion and praise about these gulags. Quote, prisoners would have their skulls squeezed with iron rings, that a human being would be lowered into an acid bath, that they would be trussed up naked to be bitten by ants and bedbugs, that a ramrod heated over a Primus stove would be thrust up their anal canal,
Disgusting.
the secret brand, that a man's genitals would be slowly crushed beneath the toe of a jackboot, and that, in the luckiest possible circumstances, prisoners would be tortured by being kept from sleeping for a week, by thirst, and by being beaten to a bloody
All right,
pulp.
what's going on here is James O'Keefe had this spy, and what James is brilliant at, he releases a little bit each time. It's like the Chinese water torture of exposing your own illicit and demonic organization. When he caught Kyle Jurek, the Iowa field organizer, on tape saying that we're going to need violence if Bernie Sanders doesn't get the nomination in Milwaukee in the summertime, the streets are going to burn. They're going to burn everywhere else. You know, the fascists, which means a constitutionalist, they will get beat up. But first, the liberals are going to get beat up. I mean, violent stuff. And then when the conversation in the undercover recordings turned to, what are you going to do with all the people? Well, we'll put them in gulags. Gulags really weren't that bad. And Kyle Jurek went on in the first video to explain that the gulags were kind of, conjugal visits. You could have sexual relations in a gulag, and you get, maybe not the best food, but not too bad. And then what James is doing in the second video is laying out Alexander Solzhenitsyn's great book, Gulag Archipelago, where as a Soviet dissident in the 90s, he wrote this book and exposed what the Soviet Union was doing in terms of re-educating their own citizens, and making the point that this leader of the Bernie Sanders campaign, this leader has these thoughts. And then the video goes on, and you should go to projectveritas.com and check all these out. The video goes on to say that Kyle Jurek goes on to say there are many of us. He called himself an anarcho-communist, an anarchist/communist, that he'll utilize anarchy to move toward a communist system if necessary. And he said there's many of us. There's at least 4 of us like that in the Bernie Sanders campaign. Unbelievable.
Now, what's interesting is, and I find this obviously CNN, MSNBC, and all the other leftist networks are not playing it. But even Fox is kind of walking this thing back. I mean, they bring on Laura Logan last night, who I completely respect as a journalist. I mean, she's really down the middle, down the line. But they brought her on to walk it back and say, well, we've not verified that everybody else is. This could just be a one-off person. We have not, tested this and verified it. I just hope that they do go in and investigate it and verify it. And
what's to investigate? You got the documentation there. They shut down their Twitter accounts. They're hiding out.
Yeah, I know, but they're not bringing that up. That's my point.
I know.
That's my point. And if they and they're trying to say, well, just one loose cannon. Now, this is not the whole organization. It is the whole organization.
It is the whole organization. And not only that, it's the whole Democrat Party. At 42 minutes after, Tom Trento, your host, if you're just tuning in, we are talking about the decadence, the moral decadence, but the political lethality of the Democrat Party right now, because they are frightened. They wanted to impeach Donald Trump since the day he came down those stairs at the Trump Tower in New York. And 19 minutes after he was elected, there was publications, and I think it was the not the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, about the necessity to impeach this guy 19 minutes after he's elected. And they went through, as Mark laid out earlier, the whole Russiagate nonsense. And just as an interesting comparison, and Putin is a bad guy. We know that he is. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about how Putin is manipulating the Constitution in Russia to extend his iron fist control of Russia, because he's almost at the end of his 2 terms as president. So he's trying to change things around, and for a lot of reasons. We'll go through that tomorrow. But I want you to answer this question: how many American soldiers has Vladimir Putin has killed? How many American soldiers has Putin killed in the past 10 years? Or let's say the war on terror. Zero. How many embassies has Russia blown up over the past 20 years, the war on terror?
Zero.
Right. How many suicide bombers have been motivated and released and directed by Putin to blow up cafes in Tel Aviv, or synagogues in Brazil, or any sort of use of a human to be a bomb? How many people have Putin sent out to do that?
Option A, 0.
0. So I can go on and on and on and say, as much as a threat as Putin is, he's really it's a second-rate country right now with a third-rate economy. He's hanging on by his fingernails in many respects. He's got to have to use force with his own people to some extent. But he has not killed any American soldiers or Americans or Jews whatsoever, compared against Qasem Soleimani, who directly has blood on his hands and has gloated about it when he was alive. And yet the Democrat Party right now views Putin as Satan personified, and they're defending, as of today, that if there wasn't a precedent, if there wasn't an imminent attack, then I was reading, and I think of the Post, an imminent attack, then the assassination of Soleimani is illegal. They're still defending this guy with all the...
That's insane.
Well, the point we're making, folks, Tom Trento, your host, at 46 minutes after 14 minutes to 12 o'clock, the Democrat Party has collapsed on itself. We're showing their focus on world events is skewed. They haven't even commented on the highest stock market in the world, in the United States, by an impeached president. Where does a badge of honor, Mr. President? And we showed the leader, Bernie Sanders, his campaign is riddled with anarchists. Now, let's take a look at Nancy Pelosi and her, what do we have? Do we have her signing of the articles?
Yes.
All right, let me set this up. Well,
you got them both, whichever one you want to do.
All right, let's do that one. We're making an argument. We're making an intellectual, a political argument right now that the Democrat Party has exploded on itself, and we're appealing to morally minded people to step away from that party. But we're also appealing to morally minded people to stand with President Trump at a very difficult time. Nobody wants to be impeached, but he needs to understand it's a badge of honor, and we need to become warriors for the Constitution on a educational mode. That's what we're all about here. Nancy Pelosi was dragged into this impeachment. You know she wanted it from day one, but she's an actor. Yeah. She's done a lot of television. She's a fraud. She's worth $200 million.
She's a Christian.
Oh, yeah. She even prays. Yeah. Look, if you stand for the killing of innocent human beings inside a mother's womb, the safest place God could come up with on the face of the earth, he designed the animal kingdom like that and the human kingdom like that. And humans aren't supposed to act like animals, but ironically, animals don't abort their own babies. Let that sink in. Animals don't abort their own babies, but human beings do. If you stand in support of that policy, that principle, and you call yourself a Christian, something's wrong. Either your view of Christianity is wrong, or your understanding of reality is wrong. You're wrong on either basis. So Nancy said she was dragged into this impeachment thing. She wasn't dragged into it. She wanted it, but she wanted that momentum. She got that momentum. A very solemn, very sad day yesterday with the articles. Let's take a look at her absurd signing of the articles with different pens, one pen for each letter. Look at this nonsense.
Now, I just want to add one comment to this video. Dana Bash, who's an uber liberal on CNN, is the one that's going to be speaking these words.
Delivery.
We are used to seeing signing ceremonies, handing out pens at moments of celebration when a president is signing legislation, when even sometimes, in a rare occasion, but it has happened, when the House sends over a landmark piece of legislation. It was unusual to see that kind of ceremony and making, handing out the pens and smiling for a picture in this kind of situation where the House Speaker.
Dana Bash is doing everything she can to not create problems for the Democrats, for Nancy. But I mean, she can't. She's got to. They asked her a question. What you think of this pen signing ceremony? So you can see she's torn, and she's going on to be an objective reporter and not hurt the impeachment process.
She sees the fallacy of this whole thing.
Of course she does.
And I think they're going to do the perp walk right after this in the same video.
Yep. She signed. Do we have video of them? Yeah, we do. Roll it a little more and watch the goofy signing. This was the stupidest signing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Has bent over backwards to say publicly and privately, this is somber, this is not a time for a celebration. Understandable, this is history, and the people who are involved want to mark the moment, but I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, I thought that was a little jarring, and certainly
a little jarring. Another
this is CNN.
Was there say, in fact, that this was a sad and tragic day, and then there she is holding up the pen and having photographs taken with those pens. So yeah, I think it was a little off message for someone who has tried to set a.
Now I want to set up another shot here. CNN is talking about this after the signature, and they're waiting at the door. They're waiting at this door, and they got all kinds of camera crews here for this couple feet walk over from the House to the Senate. And they're going to open up the door, and there's going to be.
Do we have a signing? Is you got any video of the actual signing? I don't think we do.
Yeah.
Do we?
Yeah, hold on.
Oh, yeah, because it's so stilted and so corny.
And here she is posing for photographs with a pen. So probably not the
Those
best.
committee chairmen and the House managers, they'll have those pens for the rest of their lives.
I want to see the pens. Where's the pens?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, we don't have the pens.
Yeah, we did.
What it is?
The impeachment trial.
The impeachment trial. She's writing her name, Nancy Pelosi, and she make an N with one pen, pick up another one, and I think she has arthritis. She was, dropping the pens and everything, and the pens were on a silver platter. The pens were
they were brought on a silver platter. They were laying on a gold platter.
Unbelievable. And she'd write N and put the pen down, and then A and put the pen down, and then N and put the pen down. And I'm going, what the heck is this? Who signs anything like that? And the reason why she wanted to give one pen to each of the key people that were around her, I think there were 15. And I go, that's goofy, that's stupid. CNN even saw that. But the point we're making here, folks, Tom Trento, your host, WNN, 52 minutes after the hour, 8 minutes to noon right now. The point we're making is the Democrat Party is destroyed. It is emotionally destroyed. They all have Trump derangement syndrome. It is politically destroyed. But any big edifice, when it dies, there's the exterior remains before the whole thing collapses. Here's the perp walk you're looking at right now. For those of you listening, we have video of. It looks like they're going to a funeral. They had their laughing, chatty pen signing. Then they're walking to the Senate. The Senate said, we're closed today, come back tomorrow. So they actually have to come back the next day. This is how goofy it is. But guess, gentlemen, Ronnie back there, Midwest Dick. Let me throw this to Midwest Dick. Midwest Dick, she signed her name with about 15, 20 pens. And she had an inscription on the pen. Each pen had an
Oh, yeah.
inscription.
Let me pull up a pic of that.
Pull up a picture. Do you know, Dick, what was written on each pen?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's good. I don't want you to know because you're an
know.
intelligent guy.
I saw it. Maybe Ronnie does.
Don't show it yet. Don't show it yet because I want the audience to listen. Midwest Dick is a very intelligent guy. And you're in charge of the pen signing ceremony for Nancy and for the impeachment of Trump. And she wants ceremonial pens to give out to everybody. What would you suggest to the Speaker of the House? What inscription would be on each pen to go down in history?
Regime change. That's all they care about. They want to change the regime, whether
change.
it's
That's a good guess.
constitutional or not. Regime change.
Okay, take another guess. That's not it. Ron, you have anything back there?
Never Trump?
Hold on a second. Well, what's that, Ronnie?
Nancy Pelosi.
The what?
Nancy Pelosi.
Oh, you knew. He knew. Get out of here. Nancy Pelosi, Midwest Dick, had her name written on every pen.
Can you say narcissist?
Who? I don't understand where that comes from. You have this solemn affair, which you turn into a big joke. This is why, Mr. President, wear this as a badge of honor. These are idiots that impeached you. I was impeached by an idiot. That's what you have to do. She wrote her own name on each pen to commemorate the impeachment of Trump.
We have a pic of it.
I mean, you could at least have impeachment and the date, or a U.S. Congress and the date. You don't put your own name on the pen. What is this, a party? Unbelievable. There it is. Look at the pens. And for those of you who are watching the shot, there are the pens,
Wow.
gold
That's
tip
incredible.
pens. Nancy Pelosi written on each pen. I cannot. That is an indication of the depths to which the Democrat Party has descended in an effort to try to get rid of this president and regain some sense of purpose. They have all lost the focus on who they are and what they're about.
And they're gold and black pens.
All right, now we got to close this show with the next piece of evidence. So we are the prosecution. We're making a case against the Democrats that they're gone, and you're an idiot if you stick with this idiot party.
Yeah.
And if you don't like the word idiot, then that's a problem for you, not for us here. But here's the next piece of evidence we're submitting in our comprehensive case. This piece is the argument between the two leaders, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. Had a little tete-a-tete the other day about whether or not Bernie told Elizabeth a while back in a private conversation that, look, a woman can't get elected. A woman's not going to get elected in this country. And during the debate, she brought that up. And no, Bernie brought it up. She brought it up, and then Bernie responded, I never said that. How could I say that? Hillary got more votes than Trump, and I've been defending women. He went on and just blasted her for her implying that he said a woman couldn't get elected. You could see she was seething. If you looked during the debate, she was very upset. She didn't know whether to say, you're a liar now, or hold it, or what. She held it, and then we all saw a confrontation after, when they all were supposed to shake hands. Nobody could make out what was being said, but so much pressure was put on CNN to release the audio because people were getting lip readers to read it. And if CNN didn't release the audio, they'd be doing a cover-up for two of their favorites. Listen carefully to what transpired between Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, two of the leaders on the Democrat side, and tell me, Mr. or Mrs. Democrat, your party isn't in shambles.
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion? We'll have the discussion. You called
Get
me.
lost, broad.
All right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get in the middle of it. I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Get the hell out of here, Tom.
Hi, Bernie. Hi, Bernie. By the way,
Elizabeth Warren comes up to Bernie. I think you called me a liar on national TV. What? He's a little deaf, right? What? Tom Steyer's walking into the shot. He has no idea what's going on. And she goes, you called me a liar on national TV. Bernie Sanders goes, huh? No. No, I don't want to do this now. You called me a liar. You called me a liar. You called me a liar.
Hey,
These are your leaders.
I got one thing to say
These
about
are your leaders.
I got one thing to say about that.
Wow.
Two men are claiming they're Jesus. One of them
Somebody's
is lying.
wrong, right? Hey, look, Bernie's lying. We know it. She had documentation for that. It'll come out. But the point we're making today, we're creating an evidentiary case that the Democrat Party is in shambles, and it is over against yesterday, juxtaposed against the president signing a trade deal with China that the Midwest farmers and Midwest business people are cheering about because of the economic vitality this deal will bring to the Midwest. Over against the stock market reaching its highest day. I want the Democrats to understand this, and I want the Republicans to stand firm with the president. Today, the MC deal, the Mexico-Canadian deal, will be put together. Again, opening up more trade for these three countries. This president, who's been impeached by idiots, is doing a phenomenal job. Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen.